Welcome to an episode of r/pettyrevenge, where we share stories of small victories over those who wronged you. Kick back and enjoy these stories we're about to share with you. And at the end of this video, make sure to like, comment, and definitely subscribe if you have not already done so. Now, on to the stories. And this story is posted by u/binge Vantillis. My sister ate rotten melon. So it's self-explanatory from the title. My sister, 18 female, took my 14 male watermelon. I kept asking my mom for watermelon because it's summer and why not? But it kept going missing. And I knew who it was because me and my sister are the only ones who eat watermelon. She knew it was mine as my mom deliberately says, "Here you go," to me, not her. Now the petty revenge. So because out of the 4 times my mom bought watermelon, I had it once and I didn't even get a lot. I got about 4 pieces in something like a 50-piece pack because I was saving it. So I asked my mom to buy the rotten and overripe melon because for some reason there was a lot of it. She buys the worst looking one she can find. Now I went into the living room to find none other than my sister eating my melon. She says something along the lines of, "This doesn't taste right." All I had to do then was wait. About 2 minutes later, she runs into the bathroom to throw up. All I had to say was, "Don't take my stuff." And so far, she hasn't. And this story is posted by u/mynutsAremusical. Builders dump stuff in front of my office door. Builder's lunch now paints the walls. I work alone in a small office in a public building that is undergoing some renovations while it's closed to the public. There is an office space in front of my office that is usually unoccupied. Think of an office space with the manager's office attached at the end. I just rent the manager's office. Building managers were supposed to notify us if they ever intended to rent out the space in front of my office so we could build a temporary wall or something, so I didn't need to walk through someone else's office to get to mine. But I guess they thought they didn't need to do this because the builders are only there temporarily. So now the space is occupied by the site office for construction. I'm slightly annoyed at the building management for not notifying me of this, but I am way more annoyed at the builders because the space had turned into a dumping ground. To get to my office, I have to walk past light fixtures, tool bags, random chairs in the walkway, and a toilet bowl. And I have to listen to builders talking spit while 12 of them sit in a room fit for 5 having lunch. It's like a teenager's bedroom, but instead of clothes and stale socks on the floor, it's covered in building materials and tools. I asked them to keep it clear as it's the walkway to my office and not a storeroom, and they say sure, but basically roll their eyes at me and do nothing. So I took some pictures of the mess and reported it to building management, and 1 week later, they tidied up slightly and gave me a sassy, "We cleaned up a bit around here for you, mate. No need to thank us," as I walked in that morning. A few later, and it was almost worse than it was before, to the point I couldn't leave my office without moving 4 boxes of supplies out from directly in front of the door yesterday. I also hear them whispering about how I'm such a C and a stuck-up public servant. I'm private sector, but whatever. Cut to today. I go to step out to get a coffee, and before I open the door, I look through the window of the door to see someone's half-eating spaghetti sitting on the floor right in front of the doorway. I lose my composure for a moment and say, "F it," open the door and trip on the bowl of spaghetti, causing it to spray all over the room and the 2 builders in the room. Spaghetti gets on everything. Sauce on their computers, noodles in the bloody toilet bowl, it's in the carpet, and most impressively, all over the builders. They start to shout at me, but I get just as mad saying, "Who the hell puts a bowl of spaghetti on the floor in front of a door?" I kind of snapped at this point and started lambasting them, which is very out of character for me. I told them, "This is an office, not a storeroom, and you're worse than my teenage nephew," and told them to clean their spit up or I'll start kicking everything aside that's in the path, delicate or not. They sheepishly say yes, and I go get my coffee. When I return, no one is in the office and the mess is still on everything. I think they wiped the laptops down. But I don't care at this point and retreat into my office and focus on work. Fast forward a few hours and I get an email from the building management. I crack a huge smile as I read an email basically saying, "The builders reported your conduct and had us come inspect the damage. However, we noticed the unacceptable amounts of mess in the office space had not been cleared up from the last time we asked them to, and they admitted the food was placed on the floor in front of the doorway. So we expect them to clean up the mess, pay for cleaning, and place no blame on you in this case. If the mess comes back, call us directly." And they are on their last warning from a few other incidents in the building. It was a longer and more official email, but you get the point. So now I'm occasionally looking through the window on the door while builders crawl around on their hands and knees scrubbing spaghetti out of the carpet. I'm not proud of losing my cool and handling things the way I did, but I won't deny that it worked, and it felt really good. And this story is posted by u/PJExpat. You want to yell and scream at me for asking a simple question? Okay, let's do that. When I was a teenager, for about 8 months I worked customer service at a shopping center type establishment. One of the parts of my job was issuing refunds for when vending machines didn't work. Basically, you put money in the machine and it doesn't give you the product you paid for. We had a lot of vending machines, and you know, those things don't always work, right? All our machines were numbered, and the policy was to ask for the number of the machine and then issue whatever refund they claimed it was. Considering the majority of the refunds were for 50 cents to $1, management basically told us, look, just side with the customer, it's not worth the hassle. Well, one day I'm working when Karen comes up, not her real name, actually I don't even know the name of the woman in question, and said that the Coke machine took her money and didn't give her the Coke she paid for. I asked her how much money the machine took. She told me 50 cents. I then asked her what was the machine number. Now, at this point, I fully expected her to not know. In fact, very rarely would a customer know. In cases like that, the normal practice would be to ask them where the machine was located, and we fill in the rest ourselves. We wanted to know which machine caused the issue so we could send someone to fix it. Well, instead of saying, "I don't know," she freaked out and started yelling. She accused me of being a sexist, a racist. I'm white. She was Hispanic. She accused me of calling her a liar and told me I was a piece of spit for not listening to her. She made a huge scene. She said I was just an angry man because I was stuck in a dead-end job. Actually, as a customer service rep, I was making $12 an hour, and this was back in 2007. It was one of the highest paid non-management jobs in the store, and I was still in high school. So I calmly waited for her to finish her rant, and I said, "Miss, I'm sorry, but for every refund I do for a vending machine, I need the number of the machine to issue a refund. You'll need to go back to the machine and give me the number. It'll be on the front in the upper right-hand corner. You can't miss it." She protested, "I'm tired and it's on the other side of the store. Can't you just give me 50 cents? I said, "Sorry, miss. My hands are tied." She then called me a butthole and stormed off. 10 minutes later, she returned. The machine number was written on her hand. I smiled, pulled out the paper, and took my sweet time filling in the report. Normally, I would wait until after the customer left, but I really wanted to add in the solid minute it would take to fill in the paperwork before I gave her the 50 cents. After everything was said and done, I asked her to read my report and sign where it says customer signature, which FYI, we never did, but she was special. She took a second, read the report, signed, and I gave her the 50-cent refund and wished her well. I then proudly walked into the back office where my supervisor was and handed him the report. And he laughed his butt off and said, "That was the lady that was screaming, wasn't it?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "And you made her walk to the machine, didn't you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "And then you made her sign the refund slip?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Good man." And this story is posted by u/not battle tested. You want to slightly insult me? I'll slightly ruin your flight. About a year ago, I was on a short domestic flight, around 3 to 4 hours. I was seated toward the front of the flight and lined up to board when they called for my group. I saw I had a window seat, and as I saw where I was sitting, I noticed an older woman in the aisle seat of my row, and who I learned to be her daughter, maybe late 40s, in the middle seat. I let them know I was sitting next to the window and apologized for making them get up so I could sit down. The older lady didn't seem to understand what I was saying at first, and she just kept smiling at me. until her daughter told her to get up because they have to let me get past them. The older woman got up and told me not to worry about it, but her daughter seemed extremely annoyed when she told her to move for me. I didn't mind at all and apologized once more for being too big to fit past them without them having to get up, and once again, the older lady gave me a big smile and told me to not worry about it. Unfortunately, the daughter was nowhere near as happy as her mother. This is the point where the daughter started to fire off comments to her mother that were directed at me, pissed off at the fact that since I have a window seat, I should have been on the plane before them so they didn't have such a hassle to get back up after they were already seated, etc. Her mother, though, didn't seem to pay her any mind. I just ignored her tirade. I did feel guilty that I made them, especially the older lady with the big smile, get up for me. But when the daughter saw her mother was ignoring her, she started to look for anyone around us that she could complain about me to. She even asked the flight attendant for a glass of wine because this silly moron next to her had stressed her out. I put my headphones in and occasionally would pause the movie I was watching on my phone to check if she was still complaining about me. Now, I usually have to put up with comments and slight insults for work. I've been called a lot worse before, and honestly, being called a silly moron is more humorous than anything, so I was just going to let it slide. That's when I noticed as we reached flying altitude that she was trying to see out the window to look down on the city we were leaving. Immediately, I hunched myself forward to block her from seeing out the window and kept watching my movie. Initially, I planned to block the window for about 20 minutes, but 20 became 30. 30 became 45, and I thought, what the hell? I'm going to fully commit to hunching in front of the window for the entire flight. I saw her getting annoyed, but I blasted my volume, held in my pee, skipped the mid-flight snack and drinks, and continued to block the window until we landed. It was definitely worth it. These were 4 great stories, so we definitely thank you for listening, and do us a huge favor, comment, like, share, and definitely subscribe for sure so you'll be able to get more of the reminders for new videos that come out in the future. Have yourselves an incredible day. This has been TNA Top Notch Audio.